What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 523 of Get Paid for Your Pad. Now, Eric is off this week, so it's going to be a solo podcast by myself. I haven't done this for a while, but there's a lot of updates right now when it comes to the Airbnb platform. They came out with their quarter free financial results a couple of weeks ago, and then just a few days ago, Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky actually came out with some updates that he announced on Twitter when it comes to the way that Airbnb displays the prices on in the search results. But also, Airbnb is coming up with their winter release next week. So there's a lot of stuff going on when it comes to Airbnb. So in this podcast, I wanted to go through the changes that he already announced, and kind of walk you through what this means, how should we adjust as hosts if we have to adjust at all. So let's dive into it. So if you want to see the announcement, actually, Brian Chesky announced this on Twitter. So if you go to Twitter, you search for Brian Chesky, you'll see it should pop up. There's a ton of reactions, responses, and everything to his announcements. So it'll be easy to find. But let me walk you through the first the four updates that he announced. Right. So the biggest one is Airbnb starting next month is going to display the total amount per booking in the search results, and also on the map, versus the nightly rate, right? So as of right now, when you go on Airbnb, and this actually depends on where and what country you go on Airbnb, because in Europe and some other countries, they've already made these adjustments, which I will get into, because there's an interesting trick that you can do to kind of preview of what it's going to look like, which I will share in just a moment here. But basically, instead of displaying the nightly rate, Airbnb is now going to display the total amount for the booking, including all the fees, and I think including taxes as well, as far as I can see. But I've read some other people were saying that it wouldn't include the taxes, but to me it looks like the taxes will be included as well. Now, the second update that he announced is that Airbnb is also going to change the algorithm, and they're no longer going to prioritize the listings based on the nightly rate, but they're going to look at the total price now, which definitely has some implications when it comes to the way you want to set your cleaning fee, which we'll get into in a moment. The third update is that hosts will have more options when it comes to how they set their prices, and especially when it comes to discounts. So Airbnb is going to release some new tools that's going to help us really customize our prices. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but there's something coming there. Last but not least, the fourth update is that guests are now going to see the checkout tasks when they book, right? So as of right now, when you book an Airbnb listing, once the booking is confirmed, you get all the information about the listing, and that includes like the checkout instructions, right? But some hosts, they have kind of ridiculous checkout instructions, right? I mean, it's reasonable to ask a guest to clean up, tidy up a bit, and maybe put the dishes in the dishwasher and things like that. But some hosts like kind of take that a little bit too far. Doing laundry, vacuuming, like stripping the beds, things like that. I mean, that's why you pay the cleaning fee for as a guest, right? We shouldn't ask our guests to be doing those type of things. So I think in general, these updates, it's going to increase transparency on the platform. So I think the updates are good. Obviously, there's been quite a bit of backlash on the way that Airbnb pricing worked before, or as of right now, where sometimes guests will complain on social media that they search for an Airbnb listing, they see a reasonable daily rate, but then they go into the listing to make the booking, and then suddenly there's so many fees, the price like almost doubles or something, right? It's been a lot of backlash against that. So I think Airbnb is really trying to make a move here to maintain the perception that Airbnb is an affordable platform, right? That's always been their goal to be like an affordable platform, more affordable than hotels, right? That's been one of the ways that they've been marketing the platform. And also, like, if you look at Airbnb smart pricing, if you've tried it, you've probably noticed that they really recommend like lower prices than optimal. So it's like smart pricing for Airbnb, but not necessarily smart pricing for the host, which is why I've always recommended people sign up for like a pricing tool like Beyond or Wheelhouse or Pricelabs versus using the Airbnb smart pricing tool. But anyway, I think that's why they're doing this. They want to be an affordable platform, and I think this is a move to kind of support that image, but also just to make the platform more accessible, more transparent. Because in the end of the day, obviously Airbnb wants to get more users on its platform, and there's with the talk of the recession and everything. They probably realize that might be important going forward, to maintain that image of being an affordable platform. So those are the 4 updates that Brian Chesky announced. Now, the most important thing, in my opinion, when it comes to the updates is the search rank algorithm, right? The changes to the search rank algorithm, because that might affect the position of your listings in the search results. Now, there's a couple tricks that you can do right now to kind of preview what this whole thing is going to look like. So I will share my screen, and I'll walk you through. I opened up a number of Airbnb windows, because depending on what country you're in, you're going to be able to you'll actually be able to see your own listings with the new pricing update, where you see the total price. And I tested this for one of our listings, and I actually noticed that you might actually be able to preview how the ranking of your listing is going to change. Now, this is just a hypothesis on my part. This is not confirmed, so if it doesn't work, don't throw harpoons at me. But I just noticed this by kind of experimenting, so I just want to share that with everybody. So I'm going to share my screen here. For the ones that are looking watching this podcast on YouTube, you'll be able to see my screen. And for the ones that are listening, I'll do my best to kind of explain what we're looking at. All right, so if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see my screen right now. I pulled up a search in Idlewild Pine Cove, where Eric and I have our 4 cabins, and I filled out to a date, December 13 to 15, and as you can see, our cabin is showing up kind of at the bottom of this page, and what we see is in the search results, we see the nightly rate and the total. Now I know that it's what's interesting is, like, depending on what country you're in, you might see something different. Like, I'm in Panama right now, and so this is what I'm seeing when I go to Airbnb.com. But you might not actually see the nightly rate and the total. You might actually just see the nightly rate if you're in the US. But here's the interesting thing: in Australia, by law, and platforms have to show the total amount of the booking, right? They're not allowed to display like a nightly rate. So if you go to the Australian website, airbnb.com.au, and then you do the same search, so you search for your own listing. So I searched for our listings. I did the exact same search: Idlewild Pine Cove, December 13 to 15. And now this, in the search results, the only thing I see is the total price in Australian dollars, right? When I click on that, I can see the breakdown. I can see the nightly rate. I can see the cleaning fee, the service fee, and the taxes, which is kind of similar to what I can see on the Airbnb.com website. I also see the nightly rate, the cleaning fee, the service fee, and the taxes. But the difference is the Australian site does not display the nightly rate, right, in the search results. So all you see is the total. Now, another thing to know is that this is going to be in the US, this is going to be optional for users. So, and the Airbnb guests will have to actually tick a box to be able to actually see the total price. So, just a caveat, because like we don't know how many people are actually going to use that. But here's the most interesting thing. So, the search rank of our listing is different when I look at the Australian website versus the American website. Now that it's interesting because I feel like that might be allow us to kind of like look into the future and see how the search rank of our listing is going to change. Again, I'm not 100% sure if this is the case. It could also be that because I'm logged into the Australian site, that Airbnb shows a different search rank, because they might adjust it to preferences that they've noticed with Australian people, right? So that's the caveat here, but at least I thought it was interesting to see that when I look at airbnb.com.au, our listing shows up on this particular unit shows up on page 3 at the top, but if I look on airbnb.com, it shows up all the way at the bottom. So that's a significant change in the search results. So either way, I think it'll be interesting for everybody to just open up that website, airbnb.com.au. First of all, to kind of see like what the search results are going to look like, but then also see if there's a big discrepancy on the search rank for your listing. So going back to the updates, let me pull up the other screen. Going back to the updates, as I mentioned, this is going into effect in December, right? And the biggest consequence for us hosts is really like, how do we set our cleaning fee? So you're probably familiar with this trick that a lot of hosts used to use, which is messing with their cleaning fee, right? So for example, if Airbnb is displaying the nightly rate, what you can do is you can set your cleaning fee a lot higher than the actual cost of the cleaning, and then that's going to lower your daily rate. And Airbnb, in its algorithm now, it looks at the daily rate and it wants to show the more affordable listings, right? So just as an example, let's say there's two hosts. Let's say there's John and there's Sarah, right? And they have the exact same 1-bedroom apartment in a condo building. Everything is the same. It's just a copy, an absolute copy, right? And let's say that that John is charging $150 a night, and Sarah is also charging $150 a night, and they both have a cleaning cost of let's say $100, right? So if John and Sarah list their listings that way, it's going to be exactly the same. Now, Sarah reads on the internet that the Airbnb rank algorithm favors lower price listings. So she has an idea. She looks at her listing. She says, okay, I'm charging $150 a night and $100 cleaning fee. And my average stay is about 3 nights, right? So the total cost for a 3-night booking would be 3 times 150 plus 100 is $550. Now, what Sarah is going to do is she wants her listing to show up more in the search results. So she's going to lower her daily rate to $100 a night, right? So now she's charging $100 a night, but which means that her, the total cost for a 3-night booking will just be $400. So what she does is she raises her cleaning fee by $150. So now for a 3-night stay, the price is still $550, just like in the old situation, just like how John has his pricing. A 3-night stay is $550, but now her nightly rate is only $100. And so that's now Airbnb is going to look at that, and their algorithm is going to see like, hey, Sarah's listing is a lot cheaper, is like 33% cheaper than John's listing. So we're going to push Sarah's listing, we're going to bump that listing in the search results. And as a result, Sarah is going to get a lot more bookings. Now, obviously, there's a caveat when you play around with your cleaning fee this way, because now, obviously, for longer bookings, the total booking amount is going to be lower. than before, right? If somebody books like a 2-week stay or something, then now like 14 times 100, right, plus the 250 is going to be lower than if she would be charging one with the 150 a night. Either way, this is something that I know a lot of hosts have been kind of playing around with. So after the update, this trick is not going to work anymore, right? So the question that really becomes, and I've received some emails from people saying like, "Hey, how should I change my cleaning fee based on this new update?" And honestly, like my philosophy when it comes to the cleaning fee is very, very simple. I just think it makes sense to charge whatever the cost is, right? So if it costs you $150 to clean your unit, let's just charge $150 in cleaning fee, because that way, you're not manipulating anything when it comes to like the total price and the daily rate and everything. It's just very transparent, and it just makes sense because your listing will be priced correctly. Depending on the how many nights somebody books, right? Now, some people use the cleaning fee to kind of favor a shorter stay versus a longer stay, right? So if you increase your cleaning fee and you lower your daily rate a bit, then basically what happens is like the shorter stay becomes less attractive and the longer stay becomes more attractive, right? So some hosts use their cleaning fee that way, where they're like, okay, well, I want to encourage people to book longer stays. But if you want to do that, I would just recommend like you just use the discount, the weekly discount and the monthly discount if you want to encourage longer stays. Or you can even like if somebody books like 6 nights, right? Because that's just below the 1 week threshold. Somebody wants to book 6 nights, you could even, you could send them a special offer if you want to encourage those kind of longer stays. So yeah, that's my advice is, just stick to what the actual cost of the cleaning is. I think that's fair, that's transparent, and I don't see any reason to really deviate from that. So now, let's see what else. The other advice I wanted to share is, because like we don't know exactly how the algorithm is going to change, the search algorithm. So one thing that I think is going to be really important in December when this update is being rolled out is you really want to make sure that you track the position of your listings in the search results, because if it changes, then you might have to step in and make some adjustments to your listing, or at least like it's the making improvements always starts with being aware of what's happening, right? So if you're not tracking your listing, and you should really always be doing this to be fair, but right now with the changes coming up, I think it's exceptionally, it's more important than ever to understand like where is your listing being displayed in the search results, right? Now, there's a couple ways to do that. I used to have this massive Excel sheet where every day I would go into Airbnb and I would go into a private window, because Airbnb, the search rank is personalized. So you definitely want to use a incognito or private window to look at your listing. I would like every day I would just go into Airbnb and check out where my listings were in the search results. By the way, it also depends on like the amount of guests. If you search for 2 guests or 4 guests or 6 guests, like you're gonna see different results in your in the search ranking, right? So you could do that. It's just very time consuming to be doing that every single day. Plus, then you have to put everything in an Excel sheet, and if you at some point the numbers, it's gonna get a bit messy. Like you want to see some graphs, it's a bit easier. So what I use is actually a tool called RankBreeze. um, RankBreeze automatically tracks the ranking in the search results, and you can see like really nice graphs. And so within like a few seconds, you can kind of get an idea of like, hey, my listings, are they changing in the search results? Are they going up? Are they going down? Or are they staying stable? I think that's really important to track. Like I said, anytime, but especially now with the changes coming up, right? So that's I think that's the biggest part of advice that I have. It's going to be interesting to see what they will be coming out with next week. So next week, Airbnb is going to announce the Airbnb 2022 winter release. Now, this announcement is going to take place on Wednesday, November 16th at 8 a.m. Eastern time. And Brian Chesky, as usual, he's probably gonna do a video announcement on that you can follow live on the website. So we'll see what he's coming out with. Like I think a number of things that are likely. I think the air cover for hosts that was rolled out. I think it was earlier this year that it was being rolled out. I think they're probably going to make some updates to that. I see a lot of people talking about that, and I think as Airbnb, the whole idea I think is Airbnb wants to get more people on the platform, and they want to get more hosts on the platform, right? So all the updates that they make, they're probably going to be focused on that. Hopefully they'll make an update to the categories, because it's a bit confusing with the categories. A lot of it's a bit unclear of how we can get ranked in the Airbnb categories. Like, for example, our units in Idlewild, we have one that's ranking in the tiny home category, and there's one that ranks in the cabin category. And obviously on our listings, we can indicate what type of property we have, but there's also a lot of properties where the category doesn't, it's not on the listing. It's not an option for you to choose, right? Like, for example, amazing pool, that's not a category that you can actually choose on the back end, right? So then the question is like, so how do we, and we've talked about this quite a bit on the podcast, like when Airbnb came out with this, but like, how do you rank for those categories like amazing pools? Do you need to have a few photos of the pool? Do you need to make it clear in the description that you have an amazing pool? Do you need to put it in the title? Do you need to put it in the photo caption? So, there's a lot of unclarity and confusion when it comes to the categories. So hopefully they'll make that a bit more transparent. I see, like, especially students in our groups, oftentimes I'll see a message coming through in our Slack community where it's like, hey, I just noticed our listing is ranking in this category now. And, I had no idea, and it changed, and they don't know why it changed. And it's just a bit of a mystery sometimes when it comes to these categories. So, with that said, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover today. So I hope this is helpful. Next week is going to be really interesting to see the winter update. So mark the date, November 16th on Wednesday at 8 a.m. EST. You'll be able to see the announcement live. If you want to see the announcement that Brian Chesky did on Twitter earlier this week, just go on Twitter and go to his account. You'll be able to see it. And that's it. I hope you enjoy your weekend. I'll be back on Monday, of course, with another episode of Get Paid for Your Pad. So have a great weekend and see you next time.